What if the internet's biggest car guy actually became a real NASCAR driver? Not for views, not for clout, but because he genuinely earned it. This is that story. Garrett Mitchell, better known as Cleetus McFarland, is 31 years old and doing something almost no one in motorsport history has attempted, learning to race at the second highest level of NASCAR in real time in front of the entire world. This isn't a publicity stunt, a one-off appearance, or a content strategy. This is a structured, legitimate racing career built with one of NASCAR's most respected organizations, and every single mistake he makes is filmed, uploaded, and debated by millions of people before he even gets back to the garage. Before any of this began, his professional racing resume was razor thin. He had a handful of starts in the ARCA Menard Series, and exactly one NASCAR National Series start, a debut at Daytona International Speedway, one of the most brutal venues imaginable for any first-time driver, where he crashed out after completing just 5 laps. That was the foundation he brought into a deal with Richard Childress Racing, a team with decades of championships and a name that carries serious weight in the sport. RCR placed him in the number 33 Chevrolet for 3 races per year across 2 seasons, with Tommy's Express Car Wash signing on as the primary sponsor. On paper, it was a controlled, reasonable introduction to the series, but the racing community wasn't buying it quietly. Kyle Busch, one of the most decorated drivers in NASCAR history, made his skepticism public and blunt. He said he would have liked to see Cleetus run far more races before moving up to this level, then delivered the line that spread across every corner of the internet. "My son has probably run more races than he has, and he's 10 years old. That quote set the tone for everything that followed. His O'Reilly Auto Parts Series debut came at Rockingham Speedway in April 2026. He qualified 35th, posting the 4th slowest lap time in the entire field. He spun out multiple times, brought out the final caution of the race when he went around coming off turn 4, and finished 32nd out of 38 drivers, 6 laps down to the leader. By raw numbers, it was a difficult day, but he finished the race, kept the car in one piece, and didn't take out a single experienced professional in a multi-car incident that would have ended the conversation entirely. On the same weekend, he ran the ARCA East race at the same track and grabbed a top 5 finish, showing that real car control existed underneath the rough edges of his National Series performance. After Rockingham, RCR moved to enter him at Talladega Superspeedway, and NASCAR said no. Talladega is not a normal racetrack. Cars run in tight packs at speeds approaching 200 miles per hour, separated by inches, with drafting dynamics that demand split-second reactions and a level of experience that simply cannot be faked. NASCAR's executive vice president John Probst stated publicly that they wanted to see more from Cleetus on short tracks before clearing him for a superspeedway environment of that magnitude. NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell echoed the same position, acknowledging the difficulty of the call, but standing firm. Even Dale Earnhardt Jr., someone Cleetus genuinely respects, went on record saying he didn't believe Cleetus was ready for Talladega at that point. Cleetus found out and posted a direct response video. He called it what it was, a rejection, and didn't deflect from it for a single second. He acknowledged the hectic race at Rockingham, admitted he needed more time behind the wheel regardless of which series it came from, and described the denial as a kick in the teeth, but not a reason to stop. He said plainly that rushing to the top had never been the plan, and that more windshield time would make him better no matter where it happened. Between the Talladega rejection and his next O'Reilly opportunity, he entered the RK Menards race at Kansas Speedway, and the performance genuinely turned heads. He wasn't just surviving the field, he was racing through it. He made passes on the outside, worked his way through traffic, and climbed as high as 7th place before sitting 10th with 25 laps remaining. Then the engine blew. He finished classified 20th through no fault of his own, but anyone watching knew exactly what they had seen. The car control, the overtaking decisions, the management of traffic, it was all there before the mechanical failure ended his day. On April 20th, 2026, NASCAR approved him for the Sports Illustrated Resorts 250 at Nashville Superspeedway on May 30th. He posted the announcement himself, made clear he would be putting in serious simulator work and training with RCR in the weeks leading up to the race, and treated the opportunity with the seriousness it deserved. Nashville Superspeedway is a 1.33-mile concrete D-shaped oval that blends intermediate and short track characteristics, faster than Rockingham, with different corner dynamics and a genuine step up in complexity that will test everything he has learned since his debut. The stakes could not be clearer. A clean, controlled run at Nashville, even a top 25 finish, gives NASCAR the progression they have been asking for, and opens the door to bigger venues later in 2026. A rough outing gives every critic the ammunition they have been waiting for, and risks turning the Talladega denial from a single exception into a defining pattern. The path to Daytona and Talladega runs directly through Nashville, and he knows it. That is exactly why he is in the simulator. That is exactly why he is working with RCR's full resources. He is not approaching this like an appearance. He is approaching it like the most important race of his career so far. And NASCAR is navigating this alongside him because there is something genuinely new happening here. Cleetus McFarland brings a massive social media following into every race he enters. Former fans are returning to the sport. New audiences are discovering it for the first time. John Probst himself acknowledged the tension between entertainment and sport and the commercial reality that cannot simply be ignored. The question the sport is quietly asking is whether this represents a one-time novelty or something larger, a preview of how NASCAR can grow in an era where the line between creator and competitor is harder to draw with every passing season. Here's the part nobody is really talking about. NASCAR has never publicly published the criteria it uses to approve or deny drivers for specific tracks. That means Cleetus McFarland may have just forced the most powerful sanctioning body in American motorsport to create rules they never needed before. He didn't just show up to race, he changed how the sport thinks about who gets to race, and that might be his most lasting impact of all.